Hello, hello. My name is Samantha. I make ASMR, and tonight, I am going to be talking about All Elite Wrestling AEW's Winter is Coming from 2024. So, I feel like this video is not going to be very relaxing in the beginning because I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that I have to talk about, unfortunately. I actually don't have to talk about it. I just feel like I can't continue without talking about some of it. So I want to first start with what is happening with Rey Fenix. It's very disappointing to see. If you watched my videos before, you know that Rey Fenix is probably one of my top 3 wrestlers. I think that he is amazing. I love watching him. I did not think that the Lucha Brothers were going to leave, and they are, which is so sad. I hate hearing that Rey Fenix felt like he did not get the medical treatment that he thought that he deserved, and I also kind of hate that he is not being treated as an independent contractor, in that he is not getting released from his contract when he wants to be. That's very disappointing. I think that wrestlers should not be independent contractors. I get that AEW is better than WWE in terms of that. That's why I like to watch them, because they allow their wrestlers to take other bookings and to have other streams of income, like YouTube channels and Twitch channels and OnlyFans. But I think that they should then be treated like independent contractors and be able to get out of their contracts whenever they want. So I just wanted to start by saying that. And then I'm actually going to talk about why I wanted to make this video specifically about a Dynamite. Now, Winter is Coming is supposed to be like a larger Dynamite, but I keep getting recommended all of these videos talking about all the bad that's happening in AEW, and sometimes I feel like those videos are coming from a more malicious place, which is very disappointing. Sometimes I feel like, to people who do not watch All Elite Wrestling regularly, if the MJF story isn't good, or he's, off filming somewhere and isn't on TV, they just kind of write off the entire show, the entire shows. And I think that if you're watching Dynamite on a regular basis, you're finding a lot of things to enjoy, because there's so much more going on. And I want to highlight all of the fun and good things that are happening right now in AEW. It just sucks that I'm doing it while actual correct criticism is being levied for their treatment of Rey Fenix, and I don't love that they are not allowing Ricky Starks to work in GCW. But with all of those disclaimers, I think that some of the videos that I keep getting recommended for some reason are done with malicious kind of intent, and I don't love that, because I think that Dynamites have been really good lately and really fun, and that if you look outside of other storylines, you'll find ones that you really like. I think the women's division is doing so much right now, and I love it. So let's get into Winter is Coming. We start with a Pac and Jon Moxley versus Jay White and Orange Cassidy match. Actually, we start with like little backstage kind of thingies. But this is like our first match. This was so fun. Like, genuinely, I love Pac. I love Jay White. I love Orange Cassidy. I love Jon Moxley. Like, this is so fun. So if you haven't watched one of these before, you know that I love to talk about their outfits. I haven't really gotten to talk about Orange Cassidy's dark denim color change. I love it. I love that it's implying that he's going through a change. That he is essentially mourning his friends who are now gone. I think that is so fun. And so yeah, I love this dark kind of denim look that he's been going with the black t-shirt. I love Pac's individual kind of entrance that they've been giving him. I think that is very fun. I think that Pac is like one of the best wrestlers. He's so fun. So we start, Jay and Orange automatically take things to the outside, which to me was a strange strategy, because you would think that that's where Pac and Moxley would want to be. So to see Jay White and Orange Cassidy kind of bring it there initially, I was like, that's not a good strategy. And it does end up not being a great strategy as they begin to get taken over. One of the things that I really liked about this match was that they weren't afraid to let it breathe. To let the match breathe. Like, they have Pac beating up Orange for a while in the ring, and it genuinely gets pretty quiet because they're not like doing a lot, so there's not a lot to cheer. But the arena kind of goes to this kind of stillness, and it's kind of chilling, honestly. I thought it was a really smart way to show the ruthlessness of the Death Riders, since I think that they're still getting a lot of cheers. I really love that part. We do see Christian up in the box watching, holding his contract. I really love this storyline, and I love how he randomly inserts himself into every kind of conversation or event that has to do with that world title belt. They're not letting you forget that he has that contract. Pac and Jay finally get to fight, so everybody cheer, yay, whoa. It doesn't last very long though. Like, it does, but it's not necessarily the focus, because they end up fighting on the outside. Orange and Mox get involved. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We do eventually cut back to them in the ring. At one point, Pac is doing just the meanest kicks to Jay White, and Jay just sells so amazingly. I think that's part of what makes him genuinely such a great wrestler to watch. It's the way that he sells. You really believe it. At one point, Orange Cassidy does 2 DDTs right after each other. Almost, because Pac ends up stopping the second one, which I think is crazy. It was like the craziest counter. The craziest counter into it. And I just thought that was so cool. It's especially interesting because at one point you literally hear the audience say the 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on the pin, even though it's a 2 count, because they thought that Orange Cassidy was going to pin Jon Moxley, which so fun and so wild. It was so fun to watch. The audience was really buying into it. Orange is going to win later on, and then Hangman Adam Page comes out, stops the match, making the match get thrown out. And I was like genuinely like frustrated, like I kind of couldn't believe it. It was a good end because of how upset I was that Orange and Jay White were not going to win. So Orange and Jay are punching Hangman. Hangman is fighting them. They're arguing. Then the Death Riders come back in. They beat all of them up. This is chaos in a good way. I feel like with the end of the Full Gear pay-per-view, that was chaos in a not bad way, because I still think it got across what it wanted to, but in an unorganized way. This is chaos that felt planned with intention, and I loved that. So, next we head to a Bandito promo where he ends up like beating these guys up in this old west town. People are gonna try and make fun of this, and I don't care. Like, this is so fun. It really lets you get to know this character. It gives a personality to the storyline. I love it. I think it's camp. It is so wonderful, 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 wonderful. So, next we go back to Mox. He's giving an out of breath promo. You know, that kind of stuff. Then we cut to Christian, who's, remember, is in the suites. He had already sent away Kip and, oh my gosh, what is his name? Kip and Nick. There we go. Kip and Nick. And I think Mother Wayne was there, and she also was sent away. So he's monologuing. He's talking. He goes down from the seats. He's talking there, and then he goes back up into the suite to like where the area is. As he's monologuing, we see Hook through the glass of the door. We see Hook punch through the glass. Punch through the glass. Unlock the door from the inside. Get in. Start beating up Christian. He then chokes him out down the stairs. Looks like he's going to throw him over the edge of the balcony. This was so fun. Like, sometimes when people are talking about AEW Dynamite and they're like, oh, they lost this plot thread or whatever. Yeah, but the same show also had a guy getting choked out and almost thrown out a balcony. Like, that's so fun and it's so wrestling to me. Like, that's what you think of when you think of wrestling. Eventually Nick and Kip come back in. It's fantastic. They chase him out. Well, actually, I think that they just give Christian enough time to run out, and then Hook runs after him. And I thought that they were going to come back to this, and I don't believe that they do. Like, I didn't write anything down about it, but I could be mistaken. Tony Schiavone does like a fist pump. It was so funny. I love it. Next, we have Will Ospreay versus Claudio Castagnoli for the Continental Classic. So I have kind of a probably bad opinion. Everybody really likes the Continental Classic, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just about halfway through I start to get bored. because I am very much a storyline person, and it feels like there are a lot of storylines going on right now. I just, at some point with like 3 matches a night on every show, I just am like, I kind of don't care as much. I'm so sorry. This one I cared about because I was genuinely interested in who they were gonna pick to win. So Will Ospreay comes out, he's still in his Punisher gear, and I like the idea of it. Like, I like that it's a goat head, and I like that he's showing himself in this different state. Like, he's not trying to help people, as we see later on, I think actually on Collision, where he gives a promo kind of with Darby, where he's having a conversation about how he's not here to fix everybody's problems. He needs to win the Continental Classic. He's lost 2 pay-per-view matches in a row. I just don't really care about the Punisher. So the gear is not my favorite, but I love the idea of it. I love the execution of it. It's just not for me. Claudio comes out in his little robe with this little, grocery list on it. And I don't mean that to be rude. Like, I think one of them is literally a grocery list. At least at one point it was. This is a good match, as you would expect. Again, it's just, like, not really my thing. But I know a lot of people really, really like the Continental Classic. Will wins, which I was honestly surprised by. I genuinely did think that they were going to give it to Claudio. Claudio starts to go to try and beat up Will Ospreay, but Darby comes out with a bat and in his little pink coat and chases him off, which I thought was very fun. So that was good. We get a little promo backstage next with Renee and Ricochet. That's fun. We then see a car pull up. We see the door open. We see the Dynamite diamond ring on somebody's pinky finger. Oh my gosh, MJF is back and he's in the building. Yay! We see him put his little scarf on. It's very fun. Then we see Matt Cardona and Renee. Matt Cardona is going to fight Brian Keith. That was on Rampage. I have not watched Rampage yet. It is on my DVR. But I was like, this is gonna be a fun match. I wrote in my notes they knew that they couldn't ruin this episode with a learning tree promo. Unfortunately, I do turn out to be wrong later on, which is unfortunate. Then we get Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. The silver and black gear that I believe Adam Cole comes out in genuinely looks expensive, which I usually don't say about wrestling gear. And then Kyle comes out after Undisputed Kingdom tries to stop him from going out there. I thought that was very strange. Because we've seen friends wrestle before, so I don't really know why Adam thinks that he has more of a right to wrestle MJF than Kyle. Like, it's like, win it then. So Kyle is in black and gold, and I did think that was interesting because I haven't watched NXT, so I don't know all the lore, but it kind of seems like Kyle came out in Undisputed Era colors, and Adam Cole came out in Undisputed Kingdom colors in the black and silver. So I thought that it was interesting that it kind of feels like they're in 2 different timelines almost. But that could be wrong. It could just be a coincidence, but I thought it might be worth pointing out. This is honestly the most I've ever liked Kyle. I haven't found him that interesting of a character before this. Well, actually I did, but then he didn't go with what I thought he was going to go with. when he came back and was acting all grateful, I thought it was kind of like a born again Kyle O'Reilly thing. Kyle O'Reilly. I don't know why that name is escaping me tonight. It's kind of like a born again Kyle O'Reilly thing, and then he didn't do that, or we lost that thread or something. So this current iteration of Kyle O'Reilly is very, very interesting to me. Kyle destroys Cole on the outside. There is like a Panama Sunrise counter that he does that is amazing. At one point, Adam Cole does a super kick fake out, which I feel like I haven't seen, and you feel like you would see the Young Bucks do that more. So that was incredibly interesting to me. Kyle grabs Adam's leg when he tries to run, with the knee, with the boom, and gets him in an ankle lock. I feel like this is really a match where they aren't just wrestling well, they are wrestling like they have studied each other's moves and know what the other is going to do, specifically from Kyle O'Reilly's, because he has a counter for all of Adam's big moves. I love this. I thought that was fantastic. Then we have MJF run in, miss. Adam ends up punching MJF instead. Kyle then rolls Adam up. Adam kicks out and then pins Kyle O'Reilly for the win. He then tries to shake Kyle's hand. Kyle does not shake his hand. Good for you. I'm so sick of seeing people shake hands after they get in a fight. And I also wouldn't shake his hand because he never checks on Kyle O'Reilly after the match. He's too busy, yelling at MJF, who's already, escaped halfway through the crowd, and, talking to him and trying to get his attention. So I also wouldn't if he didn't check on me. You're supposed to be my friend. So I liked that very end part. I feel like the part where MJF misses his punch makes him look kind of weak. I didn't know if I liked that specifically. I thought that, I don't know, we haven't seen him in a few weeks besides in pre-taped promos, and then he comes flying in and misses. Buddy, that's not great. So, I don't think that I love that. I'm not quite seeing the vision. I'm not quite seeing the vision with this whole storyline. But, again, I thought that they were playing 4D chess. I gotta stop thinking that. I think that they're thinking better than I do. When in reality, that's just not true. So, I still don't quite get the storyline. I feel like I get the Adam and Kyle storyline. I feel like that's making a lot of sense, and I like their involvement together. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that match. I did really like the end. I liked the very end with Kyle. I feel like that part of the story is developing really well into something very interesting. And then we get an FTR promo. Yay. And then I wrote in my notes, oh my gosh, I spoke too soon. It's freaking Chris Jericho. Pee pee boo boo. And I don't know what else to say than that. He's doing these New York Minute promos. I don't know why. I think that they're going to be in New York at some point. I don't know. Let's all take a deep breath together, okay? We're going to inhale. I am so sick of the learning tree. Brian Keith, you are a treasure. And then they were like, Chris Jericho's gonna be on commentary for his match with Matt Cardona. And I was like, oh, yay. So fun. Chris does say that he's going to be in Ring of Honor. That's shocking. I'm sorry. it's just not for me, man. Like, I don't love any gimmick that's like, well, the fans don't like me, so my character is going to be unlikable. Like, that is so boring to me. I don't know. It's a very childish to my way of thinking. Like, why don't you try and, like, get us back on your side? Maybe pander a little. Maybe actually take some time off instead of winning a championship for a promotion that you don't show up to on a regular basis. So, I was like, okay. And I feel like those are really the weakest points of AEW right now, is the Chris Jericho storyline and the MJF Adam Cole storyline. And since those three people have largely been seen as some of the best parts of AEW, that's why people are poo-pooing on AEW so much lately. So that's just really disappointing to see. Very disappointing. And then we have Darby with Tony Schiavone. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of this, but I wrote down that Darby makes his mouth bleed. So, I feel like I probably enjoyed it. Then we have Ricochet versus Brody King. I still don't quite get Ricochet. I don't quite get Ricochet yet. I don't quite understand his motivations. They seem to be that he wants to be the best. But like, sure, that's everybody else's motivation. So I'm gonna need like a little bit more. Do you want to prove yourself? Do you feel like you've already proven yourself and you like deserve to win? I'm a little confused, and honestly, there's a lot more cheering for Brody King, which I think is interesting. I actually kind of think that Ricochet at this moment makes a lot more sense as a heel, because he's kind of cocky, he kind of thinks that he deserves it, he's kind of got this thing going with the Hurt Syndicate, which also genuinely one of the best parts of AEW right now, and it is infuriating to see people not talk about how good the Hurt Syndicate is. And I've said this so many times, I feel like AEW brings wrestlers in and expects you to already know them and doesn't do a great job at making you care about them out of the jump. Ricochet, in this case, the Hurt Syndicate, I care about so much. I care about MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin, and I've never seen any of their stuff before. I did see Shelton Benjamin at a Comic-Con panel this past year, but like, that's it. It's like I am invested in this storyline. So anyway, right now I think that Ricochet kind of makes sense as a little bit more of a natural heel, just because we have somebody in a similar style in Will Ospreay, who is very over as a face, that if somebody's going to come in around the same time in a similar style, I think that it would make sense to pit them against each other just a little bit. I don't really understand this kind of free agent thing that Ricochet is going on. Brody King is effortlessly serving in this camo, puffy coat, and ski mask combo. I'm pretty sure that the camo puffy coat is his own merch. Perfect. At one point, Ricochet, at the beginning of this match, tries to chop Brody, and Brody just kind of like looks at him, and then Ricochet just keeps trying to hit him throughout this match, and it's like, King, it's not working. Like, babe, we gotta try something else. He does, however, do that thing that I love, where he like climbs Brody's chest with his feet and does a backflip off of it. I think that that's so fun, and I have to imagine that it kind of hurts the guy that he does that with, but I feel like it's worth it. He does actually powerbomb Brody off the top rope, then hit a shooting star press, but Brody grabs him by the throat. This is so amazing. This is like such a fun match. I love like a bouncy guy with like just a big dude who wants to throw him around. That is my ideal match dynamic. The audience is actually booing as we get 2 spirit guns from Ricochet before he pins Brody to win the match. So once again, I think that Ricochet is smart enough, and I think that he can play it really well to do like a cocky heel kind of thing, and I think that he should embrace that and maybe not like join the Hurt Syndicate, but like I would love to see him kind of be mean to Swerve. I think that that would be very fun. We cut back to Private Party, who is backstage, and then Lio Rush and Action Andretti come back to ask them for a shot at the tag championships. I also love this storyline that's happening. We are seeing the breaking up of Top Flight because we get Dante and Darius coming in to be like, I'm sorry, when have you guys been a tag team? Like, we're a tag team. And Layla Gray has to like stop them all from fighting, and then they say that they are going to fight each other in tag wrestling on Collision. Perfect. I love this storyline. I think it's so fun because for a while I was like, why is everybody in a faction? And now we're seeing like those factions like break up, and I think that that's great. I think that that is a good example of long-term storytelling and perhaps going, everybody doesn't need to be in a group. Amazing. We then get an Anna Jay and Mercedes Moné promo backstage. Anna Jay absolutely kills this. Like, you should go and watch this promo. I feel like I was watching a star. It was great. Oh, I can't even like describe it. I just was watching it and I was like, oh my gosh, Anna Jay is like the person that we have always wanted her to be and knew that she could be. It was so fun, and I think that her feud with Mercedes is gonna be amazing. I love seeing her get pushed. I think that the women's division is doing so much right now. It's fantastic. So for our main event, we get Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa for the Women's World Championship. When they say that everybody wants Mina, they are correct. I am everybody. I want Mina. I love Mina. She's in a darker, deeper pink, which I love. She does her little dance. Perfect. They end up starting. Oh, I'm sorry. Mariah is in a darker, deeper pink than she usually is. She's been coming out in that kind of white baby pink thing, and I think that dressing in colors that I more associate with Mina is very interesting. They start this match fast. There are no like little holds or lockups that I feel like I usually expect from the start of a women's match, which is perfect. I love a fast start. Mina is absolutely just punching the back of Mariah's head. It's crazy. They cut to the audience. We see that Thunder Rosa is there, heckling and booing Mariah May, which is fun because I like Thunder Rosa. I think that she's fun. This is, I will talk about this later. This is a short match, so there's not a whole lot that I wrote down going throughout the match. It's a good match, but it's short. Mariah ends up pinning Mina to win, and the girls, the audience, wanted Mina to win. Like, they were behind Mina, which I love. I think it's perfect. But she doesn't win. Then all of a sudden, we hear Toni Storm's original music. And Toni comes out, and she's normal. Like, she's dressed normally. And now that I've seen, like, a couple of the episodes since, it appears that she is, like, trying to be normal. And, like, she has, like, amnesia or something. I think that genuinely that Toni Storm is a genius. I'm so excited to see how this goes. So, great end. This match was 10 minutes. A main event match was like 10 minutes maybe. Which is still lame. Like, there's so much happening in the women's division that I don't understand why it's still so difficult for them all to get TV time. So, ended on a good note, but I was still mad about the 10-minute mark. So, those are kind of all of my thoughts on AEW as a whole right now, especially specifically Dynamite. I think that if you're judging AEW by the pay-per-views, you're not getting the full story. And I'm excited for these stories. Like, I am invested. I am so excited. So, I just wanted to put out kind of like a fun video from somebody who watches AEW regularly, who is actually enjoying the programming. So, I do hope this did bring you some rest, some relaxation, and some tingles. I know that it was kind of a bummer to start and then a little bit frantic. So, but I still hope that it was a good watch.